What is going on, folks? I am Goat. Welcome back to a Warframe special. We're going to shoot for the 2023 frame tier list going into 2024. Basically, if anybody who has watched this channel for any period of time has come to understand one very simple conclusion. I think tier lists are silly. It's actually one of my highest viewed videos, is that I think tier lists are silly. I find them highly subjective because specifically everybody has frames that work for them that may not work for other people. I see Caliban mains, I see Loki mains, I see Nyx mains, I see all sorts of mains. Chroma mains. I've seen a lot of mains. Vauban, all these frames. Okay, so understand everything that I say is highly subjective to my playstyle. Okay, my experiences doesn't really reflect so much into what your opinion is because I'm obviously the one doing the tier list. But sometimes I do find that seeing tier lists, because I don't usually watch anybody's tier list for the next upcoming year until I've done my own, because I don't really want anybody's opinion to kind of sway my own shit here, But basically what we're looking at is pretty simple. Okay, we're going to go alphabetical through the frames. Hopefully I've got them alphabetized properly. This is including Corvex. Thank fuck I've actually, the tier maker, as we see up top, because I want to give them their due. Tier maker is giving us that good. So we're just going to show them out. OP with ease of use. That is my basic description as of this point in Warframe as far as what an S tier frame is. So basically extremely overpowered frame. Not that it's unkillable, not that you can't fuck up and get your ass absolutely mopped up and down all over a fucking map, but something that has an absolute, just a ridiculous amount of fucking power, but is also exceptionally easy to use. That is a huge criteria that sounds insane, but it is the truth. Okay. It just comes down to, I don't know, simplicity, min-maxing a setup and just going in and just destroying everything. Now, does that mean like a third of the frames in this game could technically fit this criteria if you're geared properly? Yeah, but see, we're going to get into that. Okay, so an A+ tier, just very good and easy to use. So that's actually quite a few frames. That doesn't take away from the fact of with certain builds, with certain makeups, shit can be OP as hell. Okay. But it may not necessarily be the easiest setup for everybody to figure out. Okay, let's just put that into the equation. Now, my A tier, very powerful, but needs setup. So we're talking stat sticking, we're talking, very specific set of mods, a certain level of understanding with weaponry that synergizes well with the frame, so on and so forth. And my head, my camera got bumped somehow, don't know. Look, if I sound confused by that, my camera's literally mounted on top of a monitor, okay? And the monitor is like 3 fucking feet from me, so I have no idea how that shit gets bumped, but whatever. So A tier basically means it's a really fucking good frame. Some people may not understand its general function in the grand scheme of things, okay? B tier, dramatic improvement with a subsume. So basically the entire kit is not as great as it could be, and it is just overwhelmingly improved by a singular subsume. Whatever that subsume is your choice as long as it works for you. Me, personally, there's going to be a few of those in here. C tier, fun frame, usable frame. Not exactly necessarily high level, like definitely not a level cap frame or something like that. Not something that you would normally see somebody trying to level cap with, I'll put it that way. But something that's fun to use, something low-end steel path, just base level of steel path missions, doable, so on. D tier, usable. Okay, usable frame first and foremost. Not going to take anything away because I particularly think that every frame is usable in its own right. Usable, niche mission playstyle, so mission specific stuff like that, or just generally needs work. Like there's a couple little hiccups here and there, kind of like a video I shot not too long ago. I mean, hell, let's go back and look here real quick. I did a video. Okay, so about a month ago, maybe a couple months ago. Yeah, probably a couple months ago. I did a video. It's called, basically is Warframe Part 401. Let's talk about frames and what I think needs a rework next. Okay. Now, rework frames may not necessarily fit into D tier because some of them are more playable than others. And an F tier is in Pablo we trust eventually. Like, we hope and pray to whatever deity you may believe in that Pablo is going to look at this frame eventually and go, holy Jesus Christ, this fucking kit sucks, or their stats on this frame are just all sorts of fucked up. There's only a few that are actually going to fit into that category, and don't take this as me kicking anybody in the balls for whatever goes in there, okay? Because it's not. If it's a frame that ends up in the F tier because I personally think Pablo needs to do some work on these motherfuckers, take it as it is, okay? So let's go to first frame in the list, Ash. Okay, Ash. The sneaking ninja frame. Very powerful, needs setup. Okay, quite specifically being Ash is the ultimate in ninja finisher kills. So he runs around invisible for short bursts, and can kill large groups of enemies at a slightly slow pace, or he can do massive singular, damage. I mean, he can do a lot of cool shit, but you kind of need to set him up a very specific way in order to do so, and it's not necessarily a playstyle or a weapon setup that everybody and their fucking mother is going to be excited about doing, okay? Oh, cool. Okay, that doesn't overlay. Sorry, I've been having problems here with my camera positioning. It's a little strange. Something goofy is going on. So anyway, on to the next, right? But, Ash is a very powerful frame. Like, if you want to go do a finisher on something, you get enough fucking power strength and you build quite specifically to the weapons. Stat sticking with Ash is actually not a bad idea with his 3 and his 4, truthfully. And just generally fucking up whole groups of people. Yeah, Ash is your boy. Atlas. Atlas. Now, Atlas, in my opinion, is so fucking one note. Atlas, like, make people to rock and punch people into rubble. Then gain armor, rinse and repeat. Okay. I think Atlas honestly fits in the C. Okay, he fits in fun, if that's your thing. Definitely usable, more than usable. C tier frame, solid C tier frame. No, I don't necessarily agree that Ash can't go to high level because he can. So it's really more into the usable category because he's just really fucking boring. Okay, he's really fucking boring. Banshee. In Pablo we trust. Okay, Banshee has the probability of being exceptionally powerful. Okay, she really does. Okay, but Banshee needs help. She needs a lot of help. Now, Banshee could fit up into here. Okay, easily. Like, we'll just leave her there because all you got to do to make her really fucking good is just put Gloom on her. It dramatically improves her survivability. So B tier is actually probably correct. Something for survivability with Banshee because she can just accent so much extra output damage to enemies with her sonar ability, plus silence basically shuts down any ability casting in your direction for short bursts within, the range. So it's just, Banshee is just, she's right on the cusp of being very good, but she also needs survivability. So she is usable. Okay, she really is one of those in Pablo we trust, but she's usable right now with one singular subsume. And it's not a subsume that I really like throwing onto a lot of frames because I think Gloom slows the pace of a game a little too much. But in the case of Banshee, it slows it down to the perfect level of you hit Gloom, you hit silence, you hit sonar, shit dies. Okay, I mean, that's just kind of how it works. Motherfucking Baruch. Very powerful Warframe. One of the most powerful Warframes, especially from a melee stance. Very, very powerful Warframe. He needs some setup, though. Okay? And yeah, he can be a little one note, but he's not. Okay? Like, a lot of people just think, Baruch go, and then punchy. That's his specialty. Okay? But you can be a weapon play frame guy with Baruch. No question. It's just if you really need to punch somebody in the billions of damage, Baruch can kind of pull that shit out of his ass and, let it happen. So Baruch is a very powerful Warframe. Okay? Extremely powerful Warframe. Don't even get it twisted. So next frame, Caliban. This is absolutely, in Pablo we trust. This poor son of a bitch is a wasted effort at this point, okay? He really is. Caliban has such a goofy fucking kit. And the problem is that just like I said in the video, there's adaptation issues, you know, so survivability issues, you know, the sentience, even though they got some work done to him, his little calculus that he fucking casts sometimes helps, sometimes don't. You can make him playable. Absolutely. I showed it on that fucking video. You can absolutely make him playable, but they really eventually need to come back to Caliban and fix his shit, because he's just not good. Okay, he's really not. Some people just begrudgingly press through him, okay, and do what needs to be done. But in the grand scheme of things, yeah. Chroma, in Pablo we trust. Now, I don't want to take away from Chroma, because Chroma is actually, he's got such potential, and he is playable. Again, I can't say that there isn't a playable frame in this game. Okay, you can play with any frame. You can play with fucking Ureli, you can play with Caliban, you can play with Chroma, you can play with any frame in this game. Okay, so I don't want people thinking that me dropping them down there in the bottom is saying, oh, this frame's trash. I don't think that the frame is trash. I think the design of the kit, the numbers, the statistics of the abilities, that's where In Pablo We Trust comes from. And we'll get into that with a couple of the reworks that he's done, that Pablo's done in the more recent times, as in 2023. So, Chroma, I went over everything that I needed to say about Chroma in that video. I'll try to remember to put the link to this that other video that I was talking about in the description. So if you really want to go and listen to the ins and outs as to why I say what I say, or as to why I've placed him here, you can do so. It's on you. Citrine. Citrine is fucking really good, okay? Citrine is extremely powerful. She's extremely survivable. Her entire base kit is completely functional as it sits, especially since they kind of reworked the way the gem functions, because initially the gem only went after shit that your abilities went after, and then they kind of reworked it to where basically if anybody attacks a fucking enemy, the gem automatically just starts spiraling damage all over the place like a drunken Rainbow Bright. It's a good time. And the best part is that the gem is literally her worst ability. Hands down, that is her worst fucking ability. You would think it would be the fourth, because the fourth is just a fuck ton of screen clutter and it's a cone damage to attack and everything. But when you can apply 300% critical damage by just shooting a fucking gem poking out of an enemy, that's a good time. And truthfully, if you're willing to do the investment, you stick some Crimson Shards on her, and you put Pillage over her third, and all of a sudden she's actually a hugely survivable version of Hildren. And Hildren's already survivable. Problem for Hildren is that her energy source is her shields, right? So if her shields get depleted because you did something dumb, or you just get overwhelmed in a mission, all of a sudden you can't cast shit, and your survivability really starts to fall into question. To where Citrine, she's got damage reduction, she can regen her own health and energy just by shooting people with the first ability. So really the only thing you have to worry about is mag procs, you know, in the grand scheme of things, because like mag procs, you deplete energy that way. She's a really good frame. Okay. Exceptionally good fucking Warframe. And she's easy to use. She's easy to understand. I mean, I guess that would be the whole point of ease of use. It would be, she's very easy to understand as well. Dagoth. As much as I would love to put Dagoth into something like an A tier, Dagoth goes into C tier. And I'm going to explain absolutely why, okay? Dagoth is actually surprisingly a powerful Warframe. She really is. She doesn't seem like it, okay? The fact that you can die and still not have to self-revive because you have her third ability, okay? But that third ability coupled with the second ability basically makes people explode. That's a really good fucking time. As long as you have a powerful enough weapon, the absolute crit damage output from this fucking frame that this frame imbues on weapons is just stupid if you give her ability strength. Her biggest downfall is her fourth ability, which is also something that relies entirely into the backstory and the lore of Dagoth. And it's the fact that, you know, she casts these giant equestrian fucking beasts, you know, these giant horses, sorry. And they're a fucking massive viral proc and armor strip. But the problem is that you have to very, very specifically aim these fucking things. Just like her second ability, you have to very specifically aim these things. Because you twitch your mouse or your joystick funny, and all of a sudden you've completely missed everything you're trying to armor strip, and that's your ultimate ability. Me personally, I took the horses off of her, I put Nourish on her, and I just OP'd the fuck out of her ability strength, and now I just kill everything with her. So she's very fun. She's very usable. The problem with her comes down to that cooldown of her third ability, okay? At a high enough level, and I've already seen a couple of people running her level caps, so this is my play style, okay? At a high enough level, I know that I would struggle with her, okay? Because it doesn't take much to get her killed, okay? So just put that one out there. Ember. This will go right back to the video that I said before. Usable, but she does need just a tiny bit of work. Ember's actually very powerful. Okay, she really is. Okay, I honestly, I don't like even thinking about a subsume on her, truthfully, because there's one augment that you can put on her for energy consumption issues. So unless you're just trying to imbue, you know, some sort of damage or just overall damage, like roar or something like that on her, her entire kit really does function. It's the way that her 2 and her 3 work for the armor strip. The constant energy draw that's on this frame makes her a real problem once you get onto the steel path for a lot of players. And seasoned players are going to understand that this is a really stupid thing to say, but newer players are going to get to the steel path thing and then they can just armor strip everything and just keep that shit running like always, and it's no big deal because enemies die so fast, and then all of a sudden they get shell shocked with Ember because they can't play the same way that they did on the base star chart. It's just like this. I've seen so many base star chart Ember players that had bought the initiate pack, right? And all of a sudden they go onto the fucking steel path and they're searching for another frame because it doesn't work for them anymore. And it comes down to just, they didn't just never have enough energy to do what they want to. From my perspective, like personally, I think here for me, solely for me, C is okay, but I personally just don't play her enough because of her energy consumption usages. I would like to just not have to sit there and constantly worry about, okay, I'm up to that 90% armor strip, here goes all my fucking energy. I want that motherfucker to brew up, you know, or that 90% damage reduction. I said armor strip, derp. You know, again, it comes back to that video. I will put the link for the video on that motherfucker. I think Ember is a good frame, okay? I really do. She just needs some tweaking, okay? Equinox. I personally find that Equinox, she's a great squad supporter. She is fun to play. Okay. I have seen people run the shit out of her. So she does not at higher level stuff. Okay. So but not higher level does not apply. Okay. She's fun and she's usable. You build her right, you can nuke the shit out of stuff. Okay. But she's a great squad support frame. Absolutely great squad support frame. Excalibur, same category. Fun and usable. Okay. Excalibur needs help. Now, if you put something like Theros Strike on him, okay, that's actually falls into here, because then he becomes an armor strip, health regen, plus you can either build around the radial javelins or you can build around his with his chromatic blade, and he's just a fucking destroyer of all things. Okay, he really is. So you can kind of go B tier, C tier with Excalibur. Either one really kind of applies. Personally, I think he belongs there. I really do. Frost. Now, here's the thing. There's a lot of shit that you can do with Frost. Okay, Frost has some, you know, he's got a really decent critical augment that you can use. Frost has the problem with survivability, right? Like his one level of survivability is quite simply his snow globe, which has health. It has hit points. It goes down very rapidly, so it can get destroyed very easily. So how else do you build into health with Frost? Personally, his second ability sucks ballsack. Okay, it really does. And because his second ability sucks, there is actually something that you can do with him. Shown it in videos before. There's something that you can do with him, at least at a casual player. And you got to understand, this whole tier list is all casual play stuff. Okay, this is not like super min-max play. You guys have seen me play. I die, I have fun. It's a good fucking time. Okay. But Frost, in my opinion, if you are a casual player like myself, you're not a level capper, you're not doing anything fucking crazy, Frost, you can go two ways. You can shield gate with him, which is an interesting approach, and I have seen people use it, and it works. or you can do forced overshields, which you would use with condemn. If you do so, frost survivability goes up 10,000 fucking times better than what it was. It's not sustainable with a bunch of really high level enemies because your shields get depleted really fucking quick, but he can get up there pretty high just by using condemn over his second ability, and you're already going to be building for enough range for condemn to be useful anyway. So it's really more about, let's put some, duration on him, let's put some strength on him, and some range. You don't need like a metric ton of range. So Gara. There's a lot of people that love Gara. Okay? I don't. I really don't. And because it comes down to a really simple truth. There's a lot of ability cast upkeep to make Gara a god tier frame. Okay? She is basically fucking unkillable as long as you keep up with ability casts, and I mean a shit ton of ability casts. So you have to be very, very set up to do it. But she can be goddamn powerful doing it as far as survivability goes. I don't personally like Gara. I really don't. But I'm not going to deny exactly what the fuck she is. She is a near god tier fucking unkillable fucking frame if you're willing to do all the bullshit necessary in order to make her survive. Garuda. Holy Jesus Christ. Now, I would not classify Garuda as overpowered. Okay, I really wouldn't. She's right at that cusp, but she is a guaranteed A+ frame. Okay, guaranteed A+ frame. And the reason being is because she has her own exalted weapon, which are the talons, which are very fucking powerful. She has energy, she's got survivability. And even if you don't like Blood Altar, you can just use Gloom, or you can use whatever the fuck you want to for any kind of survivability. But you can regen your energy by sacrificing, some of your health for your energy. She does a ton of slash procs and has invulnerability while doing so. And she also has her fucking Dreadmare, which is just a thing all in it fucking self. So basically, take two guns, don't worry about a fucking melee, because she's got herself packed with that one, and she's a good time. She's a very high tier frame. She's just a very, very, very good frame. Very powerful at that, too. Gauss. And see, we haven't even had Gauss Prime drop yet, which is just where my interest is. So, next up, man. Next up. The next two frames, if they release like Gauss, we know Gauss is coming, but the frame after that, if it's who I think it is, which is who it should be, which I believe will be Protea, holy crap, that'll be two frames in a row, just like this last year when we had Hildren and Wisp, where I was very fucking excited. But Gauss, where does Gauss go? Where does Gauss go? Where does Gauss go? Right. Gauss, A+. Reason being is he's actually extremely simple to use. You don't have to subsume a fucking thing onto him because he doesn't need it. His entire kit synergizes so fucking well. He's probably one of the best synergy frames in the game. He's got great damage reduction. He's very easy to build his battery meter up. He can heat proc, he can cold proc. He turns his fucking weapons into everything goes burr. And he's just a massive, massive good time. He really is. Gauss is a definite A+ frame to me. Grendel. Now, last year, I believe it was, or the year before, I can't remember. When I did the tier list, or silly, it was right before the Grendel rework had dropped, because I did it in November. And after doing that, I realized I just needed to wait till after the first year to make sure all the reworks were done for the previous year. The rework on Grendel was exceptional. Okay, Grendel is so easy to mod. He's very easy to understand. He still has that dumbass shitball ability, but he's got two armor strip functions, and he's not necessarily going to be everybody's cup of tea because of the whole, we have 5 enemies in our belly, and as they get consumed, you need to make sure you get another one in there. But he is very fucking good. He can take down enemies very easily. He's very survivable. And in the grand scheme of things, I think Grendel is actually a very good frame. He's silly as hell still. Okay, I'm not even going to deny that. But god damn, he's actually a really good frame. Gyre or Gyre or Gyro or whatever you want to, Electro Bitch. I don't care what you want to call her. Very powerful fucking Warframe. She just needs some setup. Now, this is not anything to do with stat sticking. This is just more getting your fucking build right and finding one specific subsume that works best for you. because she does suffer from what a lot of the other, you know, pretty powerful frames suffer from. And her very powerful bit, by the way, comes very specifically from her augment mod. If it wasn't for her augment mod, she would be down in a B tier, guaranteed. Her augment mod takes her damn near back to when she first released. The first like 30 hours or so she was out of, the first 20 hours or however long it was. That bitch was like a volcanic thunderstorm when she came out. When her abilities snapped, she just fucking nuked a whole section of a tile set. It was a good time. But when they nerfed the shit out of that, that made it a real big problem for you know, Gyre survivability. Okay, and in the regards of, sorry, we're just going to zoom that in a little so we're not looking at so much dumb shit. It made her survivability a bit of a problem because you weren't killing as many of the enemies. So when they nerfed the fuck out of her, it really kind of played hell. You know what? Fuck it. We can all just see the whole save for download or whatever. Doesn't matter. I don't know why I'm worried about it. So yeah, so Gyre, I think, is a very powerful frame. She's not necessarily going to be everybody's cup of tea, and if you don't have her augment mod, I mean, she could be all the way down to a D tier for you. But the last time I did a tier list, she was one of those, she needed some more work. They gave her a fucking augment, bingo bongo, she is powerful as hell. Now, Haro. This dude creates overshields with his condemn, locks enemies down into place. He can give the squad energy. He can regen his own health, plus go fucking burr with his weapons. And by the way, he can buff the shit out of critical stats for an entire squad. It's very easy to use. He's extremely powerful. Is he everybody's cup of tea? Absolutely not. But is he fucking really good? Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, I could almost put him down to an A because, you know, like, he does require some pretty specific parameters to be really good squad support, but you can run him solo and do the same shit just for yourself. So Haro is a very good frame. He's kind of one of those under the radar frames in a big way, you know, but he's very self-sustainable in so many ways. Now, Hildren, especially with the shield reworks and getting primed redirection out now, holy crap, Hildren's up there, man. She's a very good frame. Hildren has one thing that she does not like, and that's, you know, you need to be mobile with the big Buick-sized fucking Warframe named Hildren, because if you're not and you drop your shields, you're gonna die. That is just the God's honest fucking truth of it. You're gonna fucking die. Because that is your only way of casting abilities, and you need to have at least like 800 shields regened back up before you can cast anything. So it's just like, it's what it feels like anyway, you know. So you basically need to get the fuck away from bullets and melee and save your ass for a moment. But aside from that, Hildren is exceptionally powerful. But more importantly, she doesn't like to die. She don't like to die at all. Now, Hydroid. Here is where I get a little torn, because Hydroid is, his rework took him from an F tier garbage frame to an A+ tier frame for most purposes. Okay. Personally, I think that his second ability, okay, I think that's his one questionable ability that you can actually kind of dump and do something with a subsume, specifically Nourish, and double dip with so much fucking damage that it makes him just absolutely ridiculous to use. So I have to preface that technically he should be an A+ tier frame, but he fits the parameters of a B tier frame, okay? Because an A+ tier frame, you really don't have to subsume anything onto an A+ tier frame, okay? And in this usage, you don't need to subsume a goddamn thing onto these frames. If you want to, you can. But their kits will work very well regardless, okay? But Hydroids, it does work. Don't get me wrong. But if you put Nourish over his 2 and you build up for a fuck ton of ability strength and some range and some duration, you are absolutely going to annihilate anything around you. The rework that Pablo did to this fucking frame is phenomenal. It makes the Grendel rework look like dog shit. Oh, Anaros. Now, I have to preface this by saying, yes, Anaros is absolutely usable. And again, F tier frames don't fit into they are not playable. Okay? It's not that at all. Okay? Anaros is obviously quite playable. Okay? But health tanking is not a long-term solution when there is no good kit to back it. The only thing that's good about Anaros' kit is an augment that functions off of his 4th ability. That's it. His passive sucks. His 1, 2, and 3 all suck. So his 4th ability and an augment mod are the only things that are good about Anaros' kit. So in Pablo we trust. Yes, we can play him. Yes, he exists. Yes, he can be a good time because he's a big time gunplay frame. But he's got some shit that really, and like, he got a lot of shit that needs to be working. He like Chroma, okay? Like, Chroma has such potential, and it's wasted because it's from yesteryear. It's from pre-Steel Path. It's from I'm gonna, enemy gonna one-tap your fucking health clean out of your existence, and the only thing that you're hoping for is that your armor holds. I'm here to tell you, even at 90% damage reduction, Anaros can still get one-tapped. I've seen it happen here recently against the super boss, okay? Dead. Like, Arcane Grace can't trigger if it only took one hit and you're doomed. Just saying. So, yeah, I mean, there is stuff that I wish that they would do for Anaros. In Pablo, we trust. Eventually, hopefully soon. I am really honestly hoping that that Chroma or Anaros is one of the next rework frames, truthfully, because they're just, man, they could be so Ivara, very powerful frame. She definitely requires setup, and I'm going to tell you right now, she is a very specific playstyle. Exceptionally good, though, if you don't mind pacing. Okay, but good God, she can fucking kill anything she wants to. She picks pockets while she's doing it. And, with something as simple as a shotgun and arcane consequence, her pacing isn't as bad as it seems. Okay, but it can be. She's meant to be very stealthy. She's meant to be, I can't even think of the fucking word right now for description, but I mean, she's rogue. She's like a D&D rogue, okay? She hides in plain sight. It's what she does. Cora, another one. Very powerful, but definitely requires setup. This bitch will do billions of fucking damage. No question about it. Her Whip Claw augment coupled with the proper setup and the proper modding, and this bitch will destroy some shit. But it takes a lot of setup to do it. Okay, and a lot of people get let down because I watch a lot of YouTubers say, oh, you can do this and you can do that. I'm going to show you how. And then they try to do it themselves and they can't quite get there. It's just the truth. Now, Kalervo. I know somebody's going to be thinking this motherfucker S tier, right? They're wrong. A+. Kalervo, A+, no question. He is self-sustainable except for energy. Now, the one thing that you do want is, like with me, I actually run a Nourish build instead of his Chain Link 3rd ability because I like running Blind Rage and a shit ton of ability strength because then I have a bunch of over shields, or a bunch of over guard, I should say. I'm sorry. And my Storm of Uko basically slashes everything in half quite frequently on the Steel Path. But his base kit by itself is perfectly fucking fine. It's absolutely usable. No question. It's very good. Hit one motherfucker and the motherfucker behind him takes basically the same damage. Get fucked. Have a nice day. Kalervo is exceptionally good. He's great at the base level. He's easy, easy enough. He's a little gated getting through Deviri, and Deviri's kind of a slog. But, yeah. Now, as much as you guys see me run Lavos, and I know I've had people go, man, I wish we could see you run something other than Lavos. Given what we're coming into, given the way the frames, especially the overguard system, is working, Lavos is actually taking a dip. Now, Lavos is still a very good frame, okay? He's basically a walking factional damage proc. It's gunplay, armor, health, kind of low shields, but he is a walking factional damage procking frame. That is what he does, and he has a really good time doing it. He is fun. He is quite usable. He is very usable. I'm sure someone has taken Lavos to, level cap, it would be a struggle. I mean, you can stay alive. He's very survivable. You know, his first ability, even though on cooldown, is only an 8-second cooldown and can be shortened even from there. And then you can basically whip all your health back. But again, this comes down to armor doesn't always save your ass, and building into shields with Lavos is kind of insanity because he kind of has a required preset of things that he needs to do. So, yeah, I'm not being biased here, okay? I'm really like, yes, this is about my playstyle, but at the same time, I'm not going to sit there and say that Lavos is as good as Garuda, okay? I'm not going to say that Lavos is as good as Gauss or fucking Kalervo. He's not. He's a very good frame. And it's weird that I say he's very good, but he's all the way down to the C tier, because the truth of it is that trying to level cap with Lavos is playing with fire, okay? It's doable, but Limbo, D tier. Limbo is usable. He needs a little bit of work, okay? I will say, like I said in the video, very simple. The Rift is his passive, okay, is him being able to go into the Rift. That is his one place where he is not supposed to be able to fucking die. And when they did the Eximus rework, all that changed. I think one reversion and Limbo could go up. He really could. So yeah, he's something. Now, Loki, in my opinion, is a C tier frame. Okay. There are some people saying that Loki's kit needs a rework. Honestly, Loki is what he is, man. I mean, his kit is kind of like Volt's kit. It's got either one direction or another direction for builds, and they don't necessarily coincide with each other, okay? It's either you do invisibility and you build for a bunch of duration, fuck range, fuck everything else, just build for a shit ton of duration, throw some parkour at him with some shards, and just go do spy missions, which is a good time. Or you can build for range and basically just kind of swap yourself across a fucking map very rapidly. With his switch teleport function. So, I mean, but that's really niche as far as the switch teleport. And the spy thing, you can kind of do the spy thing with a few other frames. Okay, you really can. So, I mean, Loki's a good frame. He really is. And it's like the ultimate power move to be the invisible man and kill shit. The problem with Loki is that Loki is not highly survivable because you have to build into so much other crap in order to make things work. Okay? So while you're trying to hide in your realm of invisibility, if something blows up next to you, and you're at like level 2000 and you're not paying attention, which I think we've all done at some point in our gameplay in here, you're going to fucking die. It happens. It's okay. Nothing wrong with it. Just understand. I personally find that Loki is a good frame, but he's a C tier frame. He's fun. He's usable. I don't think that trying to take him to high level is really a great idea. Mag. Holy fucking shit. Mag. Mag is easily an A+ tier. Damn near an S tier. I kind of wishy-washy back on that one, but Mag is definitely an A+ tier, especially since they changed her pull function to where actually now everything groups in front of you. Holy fucking shit. This girl's good. I've actually built a overshield health tank build with her, funny enough, just to see if it worked, and it's actually quite fun on the Steel Path. Don't need to, though. Her abilities by themselves are quite functional. She doesn't need a damn thing on her kit if you don't want to. But if you do want to, you can do it. She's very good without. Yeah. Mesa. Mesa requires an arcane. She can use her waltz augment. And you really, really, really need to specifically build her peacemakers a very specific way, coupled with the arcane, in order to really get it out there. Now, the reason that I put in here very powerful but needs setup, okay, is very specifically, I have watched so many Mesa players die in the last 2 years, and every single time it comes down to the same problem. People think for some strange reason, and I know it's not a vast majority of people, okay, it's just a select few, mostly newer players that are just now getting into Mesa's life. People for some reason think that Mesa's 3 is just general survivability, and it's not. It's projectile survivability, just like Zephyr, okay? So if somebody comes up and melees you and you're at a high level, you're going to fucking die right there, okay? Sorry. Shatter Shield deflects bullets. It does not deflect a fucking axe getting just buried in the back of your skull, okay? So it comes with the setup of understanding and learning how to work with her kit, okay? You do some parkour, some ability strength, some parkour shards, some ability strength shards, you know, arcane energize, or multi-augmented, honestly. If you've got, you know, maybe you don't have to do ability strength, you can actually just do, you know, like more effectiveness with energy orbs with arcane or archon shards. It's entirely possible. It's whatever's clever for you. She is a very extremely powerful fucking frame, but the setup comes with learning how to play her more than anything else, and that's pretty specific for her. Mirage is another one of those frames. She's definitely an A tier frame without question. She is a very good frame. She has such a stupid function that is good and bad all in one, depending on what you're trying to do. And it's Eclipse. Yes, it's a very powerful ability. Gives you a fuck ton of base damage or a fuck ton of survivability, but you never get both. And all it takes is you taking one step to the left or one step to the right, because if you're in the light, it's great. You get a bunch of damage. If you're in the dark, you got a bunch of damage reduction. So if you're getting shot at, you better stay in the shadows. If you ain't got a bunch of motherfuckers close to you shooting at you, step in the light, blow them out of existence. Mirage overall, very good frame. She can be extremely fucking powerful, but she does require some very specific learning with her, because if not, you're gonna fucking die. Now, this one is going to be more of my personal preference, okay? Necros. Now, the last time I did Necros, I hadn't done a complete build for Necros. I now have a complete build for Necros, and I can solidly say that Necros he's got the ability to be, like, OP powerful if you want him to be. But then there's so many other frames that you can do that with. You don't really need to do that with, because Necros's niche is farming, okay? He's not as good at it with, in my personal opinion, he's not as good as with farming as, let's say, Korra, okay? Korra's Cage does a real good job with that shit. So Necros using, you know, Desecrate it's just like, okay. I find for some added survivability or added output damage, one of the two, depending on what you're wanting to do, Necros has a dramatic improvement with certain subsumes. Okay, Nourish, Condemn, things like that. You do output damage, Roar even. There's some shit that you can do with him that make him very, very fun with subsumes. Okay, personally, I like using Condemn because Terrify absolutely annoys the fuck out of me. So you take Soul Punch off his ass, you put, and I know somebody's gonna be like, bro, what? That's one of your extra fucking dead people. I get it. Believe me, I understand it. Okay, I understand where you're coming from. Take Soul Punch off, stick Condemn on him. First of all, you get Overshield. Second of all, when you hit Terrify and Armor Strip a motherfucker, they can't run away from you. So now they're armor stripping, chained to the fucking ground, and you're playing off duration anyway. Fucking blow their ass out of their fucking skin and call them a nice day. You know, just wave at them. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, Necros dramatically improved with a subsume. Now that I've actually really truly dug into him, dramatically improved with a subsume. Okay. Nezha. Nezha is A+. Very easy to use, very easy to understand. You can put a subsume over Divine Spears because that is his weakest ability, although it is a CC function. So base Star Chart, lower level Steel Path, as long as you're not trying to nail an Eximus, Divine Spears does do its job, but it's really not what you're building for. You're building for his 2 and his 3. And his 1 is good because if you start getting just massively just bombed with fucking status damage, you can just fucking run through your own fire and cleanse your status effects and keep on trucking. Nezha is probably one of the tankiest frames still to date in this game, because his warding halo has such a just ridiculous damage multiplier, right? It's just fucking stupid, his damage multiplier. That turns, you know, warding halo into that extra 95% damage reduction armor on top of the armor that you can already give him. You do a 5 Tau Force Jazir armor fucking Nezha on top of warding halo, you ain't dying. Just putting that one out there. Like, if you die, you done goofed. Nidus is... God. Nidus is like a god tier frame, okay? It's really hard to grade a god tier frame, okay? He really is. But he's fucking boring as hell. So I put Nidus as a D, quite specifically under niche, okay? Only because of niche. I don't really think he needs any work. He's just a very, very specific playstyle, okay? Just my personal opinion. Nova. Okay, Nova, very good frame, by the way. Very, very good frame. C tier. It's not that I don't believe that Nova can handle higher level content, not that at all. It actually comes down to a very, very specific point of fact, okay? That Nova she's fun. She's very fun to play. Speed up the map, slow down the map, fucking kill everything. It's a good time. But there's just frames that do shit better than her, right? Like, it's really hard to fucking argue that point. It really is. There are just frames that do things better. The one thing that Nova is just absolutely epic at is controlling a map in a large, large section of a map. So to have a Nova in your group, as long as that Nova is built the way you need her to be built or operating the way you need her to be operating, good God, she's a good time. Okay, she is a really good time. So, Nyx. Now, Nyx is a frame. She's another one of those damn near god tier frames. It sounds insane. She's like Nidus. She's boring as fuck. God damn. She can armor strip with basically almost no setup whatsoever. She can mind control. She creates a bubble of invulnerability that just basically deflects, or just basically absorbs damage. And with an augment, you can walk around in it and shit. So it's a constant draw. But in the grand scheme of things, Nyx is just kind of like a boring ass frame. She's really good, but she is boring. Oberon. In Pablo we trust. Because Oberon is playable, but Oberon's statistics are just not great. Okay, they're just really not. Oberon just needs some love, man. If Oberon can get some love, I think he could come out of, just like Chroma and Inaros, I think he could come out of this level of yesteryear and could be as high as an A. Really could be. Not right now, though. Octavia, absolutely a fucking S tier frame. She's easy to use. Most normal people that aren't sadists will be happy to share a functional Manticore build for a simple min-max setup, and she is basically the queen of, I'm going to destroy the map by you beating something up. So I'm going to throw a little ball that makes noise, you hit it, and you just killed all your homies, and all I got to do is spam crouch and, when the timer gets low. So you build her for duration, some ability, strength, and a fuck ton of range. You don't need health, you don't need none of that shit. It's a good time. She is a fucking broken frame. She is boring, I will say that. Like, sitting there and spam crouching for 3 fucking hours, like the 3 to 4 hours that I've done before, it is boring as fuck. I'm not even gonna lie. But, Now, Protea. This is a frame. I am so amazed that so many more people don't play Protea. Okay? Or Protea, or however you would like to describe her. Protea. Where would I put Protea? She has slash grenades. You can also set them for shield satellites. She feeds herself health, energy, and ammunition. She feeds herself, or she has cannons that she can fire at people. And then if you've got a good handle on temporal anchor, it does work. You can basically put anything else on there you want to, but it does work, and it works very fucking well. But how powerful is Protea? Absolutely an A plus frame, no question. Protea is so good. She's a really, really good frame, okay? Simple as that. Corvex. Now, we just went over the Corvex video. I'm going to tell you right now, Corvex, solid C tier frame. He's fun, he's usable. I would not personally try to level cap with him. I think that would be a very, very poor choice. He got some shit, okay? Like, he's good. He's fun. Like, I was giggling when I was doing the video for him because it was a good time. But yeah, he's a good low tier steel path frame. No question at all. Like, I could see people easily taking him to level 2000. Okay. But anything beyond that, and I think you're going to start running into some serious problems. So he's fun and he's usable. I just don't think I think he's the one frame in here thus far. Well, okay. Him and Lavos. Well, and Dagoth. I'll say those three. Lavos, Dagoth, and Corvex in the C tier actually fit all three. They're fun, they're usable, not at high level. Revenant S tier. S tier on the basis of I don't want to die today. Okay? And you can up the ante by not wanting to die today because you can basically kill everything with him except for, you know, like Eidolons. And well, I mean, you could technically kill Eidolons too. And the Ropa, but truth be told, there's no need. Okay, like there are other frames that do that job very fucking well, as far as the Ropa, as far as the Eidolons and things like that. The Revenant is just kind of unnecessary. It's almost overkill. His Mesmer Skin ability, coupled with his survivability from his third ability. Sorry, I'm drawing a blank on the name of that. His Mesmer Skin ability makes him exceptionally powerful, and with like his fourth ability is one of those things that, yeah, I mean, you can use it. It doesn't scale well at all, but you can use it. But if you put something like Roar on his fourth ability, and I know that kind of conflicts with what I say about the S tier frames, but if, because you don't have to do this, but if you put something like Roar over his fourth ability, and then you go do any assassinate mission on the Steel Path, it will take you an exceptionally short period of time. It just does. Like, Revenant just, unless there's something that's constantly nullifying your abilities, like, the new super boss, okay? That motherfucker mops Revenant's ass all over the fucking ground. Okay? Really does. But he's great for, like, the Netracell missions. Fucking, you can solo that shit with the Netracell missions. Just Revenant with Nourish. Get fucked. You're constantly regenerating your energy, dealing out damage. You've got Mesmer Skin keeping you alive, and sure, the argument can be made, hey, Revenant's, a god against everything but nullifiers or nullifying abilities. And you're right. That is true. But you can basically put any weapon in his fucking hand, no matter how good or bad, and he will survive as long as you remember to cast his too. Not very many frames can say that. He can just stand still and get shot in the fucking face. And then when it's time to recast that too, because you put rolling card on him, you just basically dodge roll, cast, fuck you, shoot me in the face. You can literally stand there. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, like, Revenant's just real good. Rhino. Especially with the overguard changes. Rhino. Because, and I'm going to put him as a C tier. Okay, he's fun, he's usable. It doesn't apply with a not high level, because I know that there are definitely players that take him to high level. He's fun and he's usable. I just personally think frames like Kalervo and frames more, especially like Neja, exist, so that makes Rhino a little less relevant. Saren, absolutely A tier frame, without question. There is some setup involved and some understanding on how exactly to use her to really, 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 min-max the experience to its most. Okay, and there are other YouTubers out there that will absolutely spit fucking knowledge on your ass with this frame. She's really not my cup of tea, but she is a very exceptionally powerful fucking frame. Like, she's almost an S tier frame for me, and that's not even a frame I play that much. Okay, Sevagoth, one of the most overlooked fucking frames in this game, and to me it really hurts my head as to why, because funny enough, Sevagoth is actually really good. There's a problem though, and I don't think that Sevagoth is like a level cap type of frame. I really don't. I mean, I don't even, I've never even seen anybody try it. Not to say people haven't, but I've never seen anybody try it. I do find Sevagoth exceptionally fun. He is the life-stealing ghost frame, man. That's what he does. So, it is what it is. Stein X, A+. There's not even a description necessary for that one. A+. Titania, okay? Titania, I really, really, really wanted to go a very different direction. But honestly, Titania, dramatic improvement with a subsume. Quite specifically, Zada's Whisper over Lantern, okay? I get Lantern has its function, but if you put Zada's Whisper on Titania, you will fucking kill everything, okay? Doesn't make her the best, it doesn't make her the most powerful, but Zada's Whisper over Lantern makes her very good. Trinity. Oh, God. Trinity is usable, and she's very niche, but she does need work. Wisp exists, and because Wisp exists, because Steinex exists now. Between those two frames, the Trinity's just sitting in the back burner like, God help me, man, please. Valkyr, same problem. She's so one note, man. She's got two good abilities and everything else is like, it's whatever. Vauban, I have seen people with nuke builds. Okay, I've seen people with shield gated nuke builds that I can't even wrap my fucking brain around. Okay, I personally think Vauban is fun. I think he's usable. I do not personally like him for high level content. I just don't. Okay, Volt is very powerful. Okay, and again, casual gameplay guy here. Okay, so please don't lynch me. Volt, in my personal opinion, very niche. Volt is the ultimate in Eidolon hunter. Okay, he is the guy that says, fuck that Eidolon, he is not going to exist when I get done with him. And that does still apply. Okay? Is it accurate? For me, it is. For you, I'm sure it's not. Okay? Varuna's fun. She is. She's damn usable. I wouldn't dare take her on a fucking high level content, though. Honestly, I wouldn't. I've seen people do it. I've seen motherfuckers on Twitch running level cap with her. That's great. That's not me, man. I guarantee the way I play, as reckless as I am, I will die running that bitch if I try to take her up that high. Wisp, still an S tier frame. She is fucking ungodly good. You take the attributes of, I'm going to be invisible like Loki, but by the way, I can regen my own fucking health. I can blind you and irradiate your face. Oh, and if I shoot you, I'm going to do the same to your homies. And then, like, her fourth ability, if you want to take something and put it over that, you absolutely can. It's not going to hurt a damn thing because you're already building for some duration anyway. Personally, something like Pillage with some Crimson Shards, oh, that's a good fucking time because you're building for a shit ton of ability strength for more, energy regen and more speed anyway. So, yeah. Yeah, you stick something like Pillage on there and you've got, like, Hildren that really fucks everybody's day up. Wukong, look, man, I get it. A lot of people hate Wukong. A lot of people love Wukong. Wukong's an easy A+. Okay, he's super easy setup. He's very functional. He has immortal abilities, for Christ's sake. He's a really good frame. Okay, I don't even use him that much. He was one of my highest used frames for a period of time, like I'm sure a great many other players there were. But at the end of the fucking day, I mean, Wukong is Wukong. He's got his own fucking, Spectre on call as his first ability. He speeds around maps like a crackhead. His fourth ability is his exalted weapon is his only crap ability, which, subsume over it if you don't like it. It does work, but it's just not very good. Zaku. Now, I want to preface something with Zaku by saying very simply, he goes as an A. Okay, not an A+, because he doesn't, you really kind of have to play the fuck out of him to really get an understanding for him. Once you get an understanding for him, he's an easy A+, but he does require some mental setup to really make things work and figure out what abilities are jiving for you, but he is pretty easy to use in the grand scheme of things once you get adjusted to him. That's that. Ureli, I'm going to tell you right now, in fucking Pablo we trust, man. Holy shit. And actually, I'm going to change something. Steinex is going to go in S tier for me. It's quite specifically because of Intrepid Stand. I know it's an augment mod. Should I change into an S tier? Steinex is like the ultimate squad supporter. Him and Wisp side by side make the you get a Wisp and a Steinex in one fucking squad. If that squad dies, the people playing those frames suck. Okay, I don't know what to tell you, because you're gonna have overguard, you're gonna have energy, you're gonna have health, you're gonna have speed, you're gonna have every fucking thing that you could possibly need. Plus, you're gonna have a bunch of armor stripped enemies. As long as you stay anywhere close to that Steinex, you're gonna have a shit ton of armor stripped enemies. So I am going to move Steinex up to the S tier because Steinex is just stupid fucking powerful and very helpful to have. Zephyr, she is super easy to understand. Okay. She just really is. She's very powerful. She controls air. She basically has the same diversion tactic as Mesa, but it just seems to be a little bit more clear. Like, that you can hover above any melee enemies anyway. So yes, it draws energy, but it's a good time. So that is my funky, silly little tier list. Again, like I said, man, take it with the biggest grain of salt that you could possibly take it with, because at the end of the day, it is my subjective opinion. I'm not going to do that whole, I'm going to, poll people for a fucking month like I did last year, because that was annoying as shit. And again, none of this is me saying you're playing the wrong frame, because if you're enjoying yourself, then I'm happy for you. That is actually the point. This is just where I see what the frames can do, not necessarily what I do with them, but what the frames can do, what you might have to do with them, and then kind of where they fall in line with each other, right? From my perspective only. So, I don't know. If you found it useful, cool. If you didn't, I guess hate me. I don't know what to tell you, but got much love for y'all. So, thanks very much for watching. As always, we'll catch you in the next one, all right?